The purpose of the Global CFO Council is to provide an educational and networking forum for senior financial executives in order to share best practices, discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their jobs.
Scott Rosenberg, good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm great, Robert. Morning to you. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. This is a good day. It's a little chilly in South Carolina, so I got my jacket on. But I'm from Florida, so 55 is chilly to me.
hmm I'm from New York, living in Florida, so I describe Florida cold as Florida cold because it's not cold most other places.
And I think you recently moved to Tampa. Perfect timing. Did you become a Buccaneers fan immediately and ride the bandwagon?
Every bandwagon available. Lightning, Rays, Bucks. Definitely a great year for the city. Great time to be here.
Well played. I have been a Patriots hater for like 20 years. And then when Tom Brady quit and left to a Florida team, I was like, wait a minute, I was born in Florida. I'm going to buy a Tom Brady jersey and a Tampa Bay Buccaneers hat. So I have been a fan for
Nice.
what I think 12 months. Go Buccaneers.
Absolutely. It's a good time to be a Bucks fan.
Well, Scott is the CFO of Vector Solutions. Looked like a very interesting career with a wide range of industries, which I love about being a CFO. Looked like you've been in a bunch of things, including financial services, retail, consumer goods, and more. I think you got your undergraduate degree in finance and management from LIU Post. Is that correct?
Correct? Yep.
And an MBA in finance from American University. And I like to say, not only have you been the CFO, but you've also been in some operation roles, including the president. So you're back to being the CFO. You kind of took that demotion to president, but in the past few roles, back to where the magic happens as the
Exactly.
CFO. So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a wonderful ride.
Well, let's get right into it. Question
Sure.
number one: what is your favorite business book and why?
Yeah, probably my go-to book is something called Profit from the Core. It's hard to be a CFO without having profit kind of flow through your every waking being. But what I really enjoy about that book, and I reference it often, is one, its broad applicability. At its core, no pun intended, it really speaks to, businesses that focus on kind of their core essence and what has made them great over time, have outsized returns, better customer experiences, loyalty, retention. And while it's always easy to want to veer off into the proverbial shiny object, and kind of move away from what maybe the heritage was, staying focused, and being great at it as opposed to good at a bunch of things just elevates kind of the performance of the business. It's not to say that companies shouldn't innovate and contemporize, right? But it doesn't mean that you have to walk away from where you started, unless, of course, the world has changed. So, always monitoring the competition, figuring out how you can be better, and how you continuously try to outthink them allows you to kind of continue to coalesce around the core, create adjacencies around it, but stay focused is really the end of the day message is the better the focus, the better the outcome.
Scott, what about the best advice that you have ever received?
Probably you learn a lot more from listening than talking. And again, as a trusted advisor in a company, it really takes a lot of input to be a great advisor. So really listening to what a colleague, an employee, a customer is trying to solve or is dealing with. I've found it always better to help me not only create solutions but foster a deeper partnership. When you're listened to, People can really embrace that. When you're not listening or you're thinking about the next thing to say, you're probably putting some distance in there. So the other thing I think you really get out of it is you can kind of go beyond the what, if you will, right? People are going to tell you what's on their mind, what their challenge is, which is good, superficial understanding. But if you can get behind the what to the why, which again is that next level of listening, it really allows you to be a better partner, be able to think side by side, and be more creative because the why gives you more options for solving things than the what. The what kind of becomes a little bit linear, and maybe you just don't go in a couple different paths that you could or should.
Scott, what about a new tool that you've recently started using or a new habit that you've picked up that you have found beneficial?
Yeah, I'd say a habit and a tool, both kind of are, if there is any positivity to this year-long pandemic that is not over yet, is it makes us engage differently. We have to be connected in a different way. It's a little bit more purposeful. When you're in a work environment and it's just is so simple to go down a hall and have a conversation, one, that's great because you have that connection, but it also can crater kind of your schedule, right? All these ad hoc things that happen, and then next thing you know, you're an hour behind. Here, you got to be a lot more purposeful. It's like you're living in a very defined, scheduled world because if I don't dial in at that time and I don't hang up at that time, you get this domino effect. So I think the tool has really been and the habit has been around just being engaged differently. Of course, I think everybody will recognize this great habit as well, which is taking yourself off mute when you're on all these back-to-back calls. Happens to me at least once a day, as I'm doing, anywhere from 10 to 16 calls a day. But invariably, you kind of are saying great things that only you're enjoying.
Yeah, it does make it more difficult to engage with the team. We used to, you just by accident, you're going to run in and have a conversation with somebody, or you can kind of see somebody's body language is a little different and you can go and engage them. That's so true. It's impossible to know how the team's doing when they're all over the globe.
Absolutely. And I think they appreciate it as well because, again, it takes a little bit more effort to stay connected. And you really have to be, mindful and thoughtful around that so that you can be present.
Scott, what about the best part of your current job?
I consider it the anti-Groundhog Day role. No 2 days are ever the same, and part of it is the fact that I have an expanded role. So as you mentioned at the outset, I've been fortunate to hold various roles operationally as well as always usually come back to the CFO office and start from there and then grow out from there. The repetitive part of the job is the financial part, right? You close the books every month, you forecast the business every quarter. You know that repetition is coming, and that actually is the calming part, which is an odd thing to say. But when you then layer on, I'm responsible for our legal operations, real estate and facilities, sales operations, corporate development, and established our program management office last year. Those things are constantly ebbing and flowing, and on any given day, I could be either negotiating a lease, working on workforce reentry policy, contract management, litigation, strategic initiative running, and always because we're an acquisitive business, always some deal is at some state of flux at any point. So, you just don't know what you're going to get when you wake up. You know what you thought you were going to do. Sometimes it actually happens.
That is that there's both there's a calming, like you said, to the fact that I know they can't get rid of me because somebody has to close these books every month. What a great thing that some wise accountant started is like, hey, let's
Right.
do this thing that's required to be done every month. Yeah. And then the role of CFO is really expanded, like you say. I mean, the way you did in your role even more, I mean, you're almost a COO. So
Yep.
it makes it more enjoyable. So
Totally.
your job sounds fun. Scott, we
It
talked a
is.
lot about work. How about something personal? What's something personal you wouldn't mind sharing about yourself with the rest of the CFO Council members?
Yeah, and I don't think this is atypical, but I'm just a hyper competitive guy, no matter what it is. Others might just leave off competitive and say hyper, but I like to keep the competitive in there. And whether it's winning a business, being on the baseball field every week, putting my March Madness brackets in and figuring, I'm gonna have that perfect bracket, even though I'm usually out very early. But just kind of the competitive juices are always flowing. And I just love, I love to figure out how to win at every possible angle. But I also know that a good winner is a gracious winner. So,
Mm.
and every winner has been a loser at some point. So I think how you take even in losses, how you learn from them and roll them back into that undying competitive nature, and look to triumph another day. So I'd say competition is definitely running through the veins. And then as you can see behind me, I'm a collector, as well, of various things, although my wife would describe it as a pack rat. But I think collecting sounds better.
No, they're assets that you
That's
are
exactly right.
curating. Yeah, you're a curator of fine art, sir.
Exactly.
Now I got to pull a string, Scott. You mentioned that you're on the field. Are you watching? Are you coaching? Are you playing?
I'm playing, so I play baseball every week. Probably because of the great weather in Florida, I'm on the field 10 months a year. So yeah, no, I've been playing forever, at all levels of competition, and it's great to keep that going. I always say my mind doesn't know how old my body is.
Yeah, I used to play second base and shortstop, and I need to be playing third because I just don't have the reach that I used to have. So I might even be moving to first if I ever play again. I mean, actually, I probably should be playing left field. Maybe right field. I don't know. I'm probably a lot worse than I remember. I'm not even sure. I might be
No,
coach.
I hear you. I'm just trying to figure out when they move the bases further away. I know somewhere, there's kind of this evil plot, that the bases have definitely get further away, and I play short and third, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
You and me, Scott, we need to come up with a new game and kind of do to tennis what pickleball did. I don't know if you've ever played that, and do
Right.
like a little baseball. It's like everything's half size,
Yeah,
right? A little closer, a little smaller bat. Yeah, all right. It's
that
turn it
sounds
into
like a
cricket.
great idea.
Yeah, or we just start playing cricket.
Cricket,
I don't know.
right.
I don't know.
You just need
Scott,
a week to finish the game, that's all.
be very drunk. Scott, question number 6, last question. What is something I should have asked, but I didn't? And what is your answer to that?
I would say, and we touched upon this a little bit, but we didn't get deep. I would say, you know, given the varied roles that I've had, right? I've run marketing, I've run operations, I've run a business from the presidency perspective. How have those come together, when I come back to the CFO office to enhance the service I can provide, to my customers within my business. And as I reflect on it, I've been, as I said, very fortunate to be tapped to do many different things, both early in my career and then at the senior leadership level. So, to me, I think it's broadened my perspective, no question about it. having experienced parts of a business from the responsible chair perspective, I know what I felt. I know what I experienced as I was trying to lead my businesses from those functional areas, solve and grow a business where the buck stopped with me. So for me, it really has helped maybe complete the circle, if you will, in terms of business understanding and even being empathetic. Because I recall those days where I was on the other side of the conversation. And quite honestly, at one point, I was the CFO and the VP of marketing. So I had wonderful debates with myself and always got to the right answer. But you're looking at things from two sides of the coin, if you will. So to me, those experiences have really come back to get packaged up. So as I am kind of working with my colleagues or my customers, I can think about it from their side. I can think about it from the functional challenge, and not just try to solve it from a CFO's perspective, trying to understand, but I understand because I've dealt with it, I've lived through it, and I survived it.
Well, Scott, this has been fantastic. I saw a theme here around competition, but it's like competition with, like together, not against. And
Correct.
I could see how you're baseball is a perfect analogy. It's a team sport, not individual in the competition. So I like it. And when we win, we all win together. So well done, Scott.
Absolutely.
This was awesome. Thank you much. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Robert. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you. And I hope a little bit of what I said is helpful to others.
And go Buccaneers.
There you go.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.